child, I got into foraging. My parents had a massive back garden, and right at the bottom was this kind of wooded area. There was an elder tree on the edge and a nettle patch. And I guess I just kind of had this food around me. And there's a little part of me that really liked the idea of survival. I started having an interest in plants when I got an allotment and started gardening while I was a student. And the foraging was kind of in the background, I guess. But the more I started to weed, I started to question what the weeds were, and I started to think, maybe you could eat these. But I looked into it and it developed further and further, and I've never looked back. So yeah, I'm gathering all of this bracken here to start a fire. This stuff goes up very, very quickly in a big, fierce flame, which just makes the fire burn easily. So I always really was quite interested in that idea of being able to survive just with your wits. Be thrown into a forest in the middle of nowhere and be able to survive, live the rest of your days out, and survive well as well. Our ancestors hugged the coast, but for me to really understand how and why they hugged the coast, I had to really live it. So I'm looking here through the fattest mussels. There are a lot of small mussels around, but the fat ones, you know, for sustainability reasons, you want to get the fatter ones, and also they're just much nicer eating. But it does appear like there's almost this grass is always green a bit, where you look over and you think they're all fat. Climb over the rock, clamber down, and they seem to shrink the closer you get to them. But saying that, we've got a few fat enough ones here. The sea's a fairly new territory as far as foraging is concerned for me, so I had to quickly learn what was around, what was edible. Something primeval almost kicked in as I was clambering around on the rocks. And then the tide came in and I was almost cut off and had to almost swim for it to come out, which was quite interesting. Not a danger that you normally get with normal everyday foraging. And this was probably a way that caveman would have cooked. You're heating up the rock and it works like a hot plate on your oven. So by putting the mussels on, I'm going to wait for them to all open up and then eat them straight as they are. There's a juice that collects in the bottom of them. It's absolute nectar. There's one. It's starting to fizz. I don't want to lose all that juice. Whilst I've been down, I've been trying all sorts of different foods. Things that I hadn't tried before. Seaweeds were a new one to me, and I was quite amazed and quite glad in a way, which sounds a bit odd, that I found an invasive species of seaweed, because one of the things I really like doing is helping an environment by eating it. I very quickly found it in a book and found out it was japweed that had, I guess, floated across the ocean here from Japan, found in the south coast maybe 20, 30 years ago. And it spread throughout Devon and Cornwall, clogging up all the rock pools. And the more I looked into it, the more I found that it was highly nutritious as well, virtually tasteless, which means you can add it to things and you can use it in everything. I mean, a tasteless wild food is quite a bonus, really. It doesn't sound like it should be, but it does mean you can add it to things. Some even suggest that it could be a diet aid, because once dried, it expands in the stomach, so it tricks you into thinking you're full. So there, I've just pulled it straight out. And look, you can already see, I mean, it's April, so it's still got a lot of growing left to do. But look how long that is. It's ridiculous. But luckily, this pool only seems to have one bit in it. So we've done our job here. I'll go on and see if there's any more. It didn't take long to find more japweed. This rock pool's absolutely chock-a-block with it. You can really see where it's starting to take over. There's 7 different types of seaweed just in this small area. There's not going to be any when this chokes the light and this stops them all growing. So I want to get rid of it. I don't want to eat it. You can already see nothing's grown. underneath where it was. So you're doing something really good by eating a plant sometimes. I might give this to some of my fat friends as the diet aid. Foraging is actually quite sustainable because it teaches people to look really low down at everything that's growing and look at the biodiversity of an area and do something about it if it looks like it's in danger. When it's your food, it becomes quite precious to you and it takes on a different form, a completely different form, which is part of the reason why I really like to eat invasive plants. Over the last few days, my ideas have certainly changed about foraging. It's gone from something that was enjoyable, but I wasn't quite sure if it was something you could survive from. And I always questioned that, but having come down to the coast and just seen how easy it is to not only survive, but be jam-packed full of vitamins and minerals and everything you need, and to survive very healthily. It's one thing to read about all these things and see them in the book, and you can kind of, on one level, understand them like that, but to actually get out here and cook them and pick them, it's something else. It's a knowledge that you can't find in the book. And I recommend it to anyone. It's a lovely day.